Grandma took in a huge dog, and a year later a neighbor heard a cry for help. For some time now, our area has become restless. Someone threw away an adult bull terrier. It's hard to believe that the dog himself got lost or left home of his own free will. Need I say that this formidable and fighting breed is capable of causing panic in an opponent with its very appearance? However, when people saw Tyson, as the locals nicknamed the dog for his athletic physique, they simply tried to leave quickly. Everyone was surprised by our grandmother Dasha, a small, dry old woman who weighed herself hardly less than a stern dog. For some reason, she was absolutely not afraid of the mighty Tyson and was almost the only one who fed the animal in trouble. Now you fed him, he'll stay here and there are children around and who knows what's on his mind. Such a crocodile will swallow a child without choking. You yourself are a crocodile, the old lady smiled. Look how kind he is. Yes? Asked neighbor Mishka as if mocking. Well, take him to live with you since she's so smart. Then he'd rather eat you than any of us. Oh, I scared you, the grandmother retorted, stroking Tyson on the head. I've already thought about this myself for a while, she explained, and then looked at the dog and called it to follow her. Come on, honey, now you live with me. No need to look for garbage anymore. The dog, not believing its luck, wagged his tail and twitched to run after Grandma Dasha, but apparently couldn't fully believe and stopped again. Well, what are you doing? Let's go, the brave grandmother insisted, and the joyful dog rushed to her. What are you doing, Baba Dasha? Seriously? The neighbor who was watching this whole picture shouted in amazement. I was joking. Come to your senses. He'll eat you, the man said, trying to convince the old woman. Without looking back, Dasha waved it off, next to whom the formidable Tyson proudly walked. So they began to live together, surprising everyone who saw this strange couple, a miniature fragile old woman and a powerful dog with a wide chest. Now Tyson got his place near the warm stove where Baba Dasha equipped him with a bed, and besides hearing in what deep voice her new pet barked, the owner gave him a new name, Bas. Bas quickly realized that he now had a new name, and in general, surprisingly and contrary to stereotypes, the dog had a good disposition and strong nerves, and this is even despite the fact that he had to endure the betrayal of his former masters. Time passed, and Baba Dasha never once regretted that she took this dog from the street, and this is even despite the fact that now she had to allocate funds from her small pension to feed him. And as you understand, such a dog eats a lot. In the summer, the grandchildren came to visit their grandma. Seeing the formidable dog, Baba Dasha's son was also initially wary about whether it was possible to leave children in the same house with a fighting dog. However, watching his children fuss with Bas, literally riding him and demonstrating with all his appearance that this was only a joy for him, the man calmed down and went back to the city where everyday worries awaited him. But the boys, Baba Dasha's grandsons, were now having a blast, escaping from the cramped city apartment and finding themselves in the open spaces of the countryside. All day long they found fun playing in the yard, climbing through attics and roofs, and in general having a normal, healthy childhood instead of city labyrinths where every step had to be under control. Bas was a faithful companion in any children's fun. They quickly became best friends. However, on that fateful day when the boys asked their grandmother to take a walk near the river, Bas was not with them. Baba Dasha decided not to risk it and attached the dog to a thin chain that she left over from a previous yard dog. Still, home is home, and who knows how Bas will behave in a place unfamiliar to him. It's better to let the boys take a walk alone, and we'll see, she said. Anton and Andrei walked along the riverbank, throwing pebbles into it. They really wanted to go into the cool water, but they gave their grandmother her word, which means we have to hold it because they're men. And even though Anton was only 12 and Andrei was only 8, they already understood the value of a man's word. Anton, look what a cool pebble, Andrei said, pointing to the clear water to a motley stone lying at the bottom of the river. Let's take it with us? And how'll you take it? Asked the brother. You have to go in the water to take it, and you gave your word. I'll just step on it with one foot and reach it, promised the other. That won't count, Anton shrugged. Andrei understood his brother's silent consent and rolling up a trouser leg stepped into the water on one foot, but he still couldn't reach the stone because his other leg was still on the shore. And so, the boy bent over even more, but at that moment his leg moved and he fell entirely into the water. The stormy stream immediately picked up the clumsy boy and dragged him away. Anton! The frightened child immediately screamed. Save me! But how could his brother save him when he couldn't swim himself? And would he really have the strength to cope with a strong current? Anton ran along the shore and shouted for an adult to quickly come to the rescue. And at this time, Bas was breaking free from the chain. Either the dog's heart sensed something was wrong or its keen hearing caught cries for help, and soon the dog was rushing towards the river. Bas immediately rushed into the river and swam towards the drowning boy. At this time, hearing the children's screams, the same neighbor who tried to dissuade Baba Dasha from taking in a stray dog drove up to the shore. Getting out of the car, the man was stunned. The dog swam to the shore, struggling with a current which inevitably carried him away, and a boy sat on his back and trembled with cold and fear. Well, there you go. That was all the neighbor could squeeze out, realizing how wrong he was about the dog, who was now risking his own life saving a human child. Finally, they both found themselves on the shore. Boss immediately fell onto the grass, breathing deeply, every now and then regurgitating the water it had to swallow. Anton cried and hugged his brother, and the neighbor, it seems, only now realized something very important for himself, which radically changed his entire outlook on life.